Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Planetcast. I'm James with FPSGeneral, and this is a very oddball and brief episode. This is actually an interview that I recorded with Matt Higby at the end of a Get to Know the Devs featurette, which I will be uploading shortly. We talked about the state of the game post-launch. This is about 2 days after launch, how the launch went, where to go from here, that kind of thing. And there's also some eye candy in this episode. No, I'm not talking about Matt. I'm actually talking about gameplay. I succumbed to everybody's request and put gameplay in the podcast. So without further ado, here's my interview with Matt Higby, creative director at SOE. Rocking the blue flannel, wearing the NC colors.
Yes, exactly.
You got the sun shining on your face. It's a very romantic interview with Matt Higby. Okay, so the game launched. Holy shit, did it launch? And you guys didn't have any server crashes, am I right? Kind of?
There have been some hiccups here and there. We've dropped users a few times with like login server issues and stuff, but I think for the most part, looking kind of holistically at how well the launch went compared to what prior experiences with launching MMOs and what sort of our overall expectations were, this was a grand slam of a launch.
I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Every time I wanted to log in, I was in no problem playing. I will say that I was a bit surprised when I logged in and then I got like that message that I was like Halo dropping. And it was like, we're sending you straight into combat. I was like, oh, okay. And then I look and it was like
people right into the fight.
Yeah, I was in the most, like every time I've done it, I've created like 3 characters and I literally will drop like in the middle of a tech facility with no friendlies in a mile radius. But I actually kind of like it because it's a bit Rambo and I don't know.
Well, we get you right in. We get you right into the action. We probably need to do a little bit more to let you get situated and feel like you have sort of a sense of place and you've got your settings all set up first.
I like it though. It's ambitious. I like the.
It's right into the fire.
For sure.
One of the goals was we wanted you to actually be able to experience the massive combat as one of the very first things that you did. Previously in beta, we put you in the warp gate, which was a great place for you to go to get set up and find your hotkeys and all that stuff. But we ended up having a lot of people tell us that, you know what, I'm just standing around this warp gate and I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do. But if we drop you right into the middle of a big ass fight with lots of tanks flying around and blowing you up, and well, the tanks do actually fly around sometimes, but generally they drive around and blow stuff up.
Of course, the first thing I did was put my camos on and see that they look absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
And that it was totally worth my investment.
That's great.
And oh my God, I opened up the store and I saw the skulls and I was like, I had a little nerdgasm. It was a good time.
It's always interesting because we never know what sort of stuff people are really going to love. You know, we're working on making camos and we'll have some people on the team, I mean, myself included, sometimes saying like, I don't think people are actually going to want to get these type of camos. This isn't something that people are going to want. And then other people are like, no, they definitely are. We got to put these out. And man, I mean, people love them. People go crazy on that stuff.
Well, you guys have done a very good job of like both kind of the outlandish camos. Like I think the Alpha Squad camo is a bit more flashy. It's a bit more of like a. I'm sorry. Let me just make sure I'm recording this. Sorry. That would be nice. Yes, I am. Okay, we're good. I just had like a mini freak out. But yeah, there's some outlandish camos like the Alpha Squad stuff is like really flashy and kind of like, hey, look, I was a founder of this game. And then there's definitely the like militaristic ones as well, like desert camo and forest camo. So that's good.
Yeah. And that same thing kind of carries over. We obviously have more helmets that look like a full face mask that kind of looks a little bit more utilitarian, and then the other ones that are like a skull face, or we even have some internally right now that have like bull horns on them, things like that. So
right.
Yeah, a good blend of goofy and useful.
All right, so the major elements of the game are definitely in place in a way that's super functional, and things are looking really good. And I think that the where the game has come from tech test to launch is totally tremendous. But there's obviously still a ways to go, and you're never going to stop improving. So can you tell players who are new to the game or who have run into a bug or something what they can do when they fill out a bug report? What's going to make it productive for them? You know, what specifics do they need to include in the bug report?
Great question. When you use the bug report tool in-game, we're already gathering a lot of information about you. One thing that is super useful is I know a lot of people in beta, they said that they would like list out all their bugs, and at the end of their play session, they would go through and submit all the bug reports that they had. For us, it's way easier if you actually submit a bug report when you're at the location, because we record the location you're at, we record what you're looking at, we record a lot of other information about the situation that you're in. when you report the bug. So that's definitely something that would be super helpful, is report a bug as soon as you see it, when you're in the moment, when you're experiencing the bug. Something that a lot of players have been doing recently is they'll put bug videos on YouTube, like showing something, and people will tweet me a video saying like, hey, I made this video, and they'll just leave it unlisted or whatever, and just it actually is helpful to us because we can just take that and send it to the programmer and say, hey, look at this is the problem, which saves a lot of intermediary steps of having our QA department actually reproduce that problem, and then they explain it to the programmer. If someone already has a video of it on YouTube, it's easy for us to address those kind of issues.
Right. And that's gonna, with the one button streaming, that should be easier, I suppose, if you're streaming something like Switch.
But the number one thing is just to report it. Don't expect that somebody else has already reported a bug that you've seen. If you're seeing something and it's affecting your gameplay session, report it to us. We want to hear about it. We want to fix it.
All right. So when I'm looking through the list of weapons and I see the stats of the weapons, they're displayed in this kind of like bar that's kind of like half full or 3/4 of the way full. There's a description that kind of has a general synopsis of what the weapon's good for. But when people are spending real money and a real time getting certs to unlock these weapons, it can be a little bit disappointing if they get something and it's really not what they had hoped. So are there any plans to kind of improve the accuracy or just give more details or maybe some hard stats about like damage numbers for weapons, or I guess I'm asking more detailed weapon pages in the future maybe?
We want to give more detailed previews. Right now when you do a preview of a weapon, all you see is the 3D model of the thing. We actually want to show you a lot more information about how that weapon behaves in that preview. So, for instance, maybe you would see all the attachments that it has access to. Right now, it's kind of hard to find that out. Like, I really like playing with a 4X sight. So if I buy this gun, am I going to be able to use a 4X sight? You can find that out, but you kind of have to jump through some hoops to do it. So we want to make that a lot cleaner. But we've also just added with launch the ability for you to trial weapons. So every 8 hours, you can try any weapon in the game for free, and you can
Seriously?
You can use it.
I didn't even know that. That's so cool.
It's a new feature that we put in for the launch build, and you're able to trial those weapons. You're able to use them for 30 minutes. You can use up to 3 weapons a day. I think it's 8 hours in between a trial. And then you can try each weapon once every 30 days. So you can't just keep retrying the same gun over and over again. But you can get a really good feeling for how does this feel, how does it play. Do I want to actually spend some station cash or spend some of my cert points unlocking it?
I know the first thing I'm doing when I get off this guy.
Awesome.
And I also saw that I was actually going to run to GameStop and buy one of those station cash cards because you get the free weapon with it as well. Yep. Good selling point.
The NS11.
Yeah, it was funny. I was thinking to myself, like, before launch, I was like, well, the free-to-play model in this game, I don't know how much money I'm really going to spend, XYZ, blah, blah. I'm really going to want all this stuff. Like, 8 hours later, I've, like, dropped, like, $300 in the game, and I'm, like, got all these awesome-looking characters, and I don't know. It really lends itself pretty well.
Yeah, I think my all-time favorite Penny Arcade comic is talking about League of Legends. And do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's free.
Free. Oh, it's like, totally free. Oh, cool. It's so free. How much money have you spent on it? I've spent $500.
Yeah, it's very much. Be careful, but do support Planet Site 2 because every single penny you spend is going to be bettering the game and making it, more stuff's going to be coming. Just browsing through.
It's true. One of the things about free players too, though, I mean, I've said this a couple times. I don't know if I've talked to you about it, but people who come into our game and play for free are helping us out too because they're providing content for everybody else. So
targets.
If you're playing the game and you're loving the game, that's awesome. If you want to chip in a couple extra bucks for cosmetics or a boost to help you unlock some stuff a little bit quicker, great. If you're just playing and you're having an awesome time playing, that's the number one thing. That's to us on the design side and on the team. That's what we care about above anything else is making an awesome experience that people are going to log in and want to play and want to enjoy. And then hopefully, if we've done our job well in making the game really fun, then enough people will slide us some cash to let us keep working on making the game fun.
Awesome. And I just want to touch on this next subject briefly because it's kind of a new addition, or it's, I don't know, it was introduced at launch. You can only have one faction per server. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, my light.
Oh, that was back.
All All right.
What the hell?
Is it too dark now?
No, it's good.
Okay.
No, it's
These
fine.
cameras auto-adjust.
Yep. So you only have one faction. You can't be TR and VS on the same server, or vice versa, and only 3 characters per account.
So
is that correct?
by the time this airs, unless it's live,
No.
the first thing that
Right.
you said will be gone. We did have
Really?
the one character or only one empire per server restriction for a while. Well, for the last couple of days, but we're removing that.
Okay.
It was sort of there to try to prevent the 4th empire phenomenon, because we're a free-to-play game. People can just roll another account to be able to go switch empires anyway. So it really wasn't doing a lot except for putting up an unnecessary hurdle for our users. So we just decided to get rid of that. And it was especially screwing over people like in Australia who might want to play VS and NC, but there's only one Australian server up right now. They were unable to do so on their local server. So we're just completely getting rid of that restriction.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's look forward to the future and talk about future content. I've been asking everybody, and everybody's saying, lots of weapons coming, lots of vehicles coming, lots of content in general. So players can look forward to that. And can you talk a little bit about the benefits of what a subscriber is getting when they choose to subscribe to the premium membership?
Sure. In a word, they're getting convenience. The membership really gives you an accelerated ability to unlock stuff, an accelerated earning of resources, so you're not going to be limited by resources when you're spawning vehicles. You're not going to have to wait in the queue as long when you're logging into a full server. So the premium membership is all about convenience. It also gives you station cash. So if you want to dabble in buying cosmetics, but you don't necessarily want to put in your credit card and buy a bunch of station cash, you're going to be unlocking station cash just monthly with the membership. So it's a good value there too.
Cool. And here's something that's kind of present in a lot of other MMOs. I'm just going to ask you all 3 of these at once. So the ability to faction change, the ability to name change, and the ability to server change. Do you think that we will ever see any of those in PlanetSide 2?
No, yes, yes.
Okay, so no faction change, but yes to name change and yes to server change. Cool.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, putting in server change and allowing people to do that is definitely on our list, and name change, same deal. Definitely a no-brainer for us to be able to put those type of little things in. We might even put in, some people have asked for the ability to recertify.
That was going to be my next question, actually, because I think on the one hand, it's indefinite. There's not like a certain amount of certs that you can get. You can keep accumulating them, but on the other hand, if you do drop 1,000 on a gun and you really, really, really hate it, I think it would be much better to pay a small fee than to, because that's the kind of situation in a game, me personally, if I dropped, if I didn't have money to spend and I was playing it and I was back to being 14 and I was a starving gamer, and I unlocked a gun and I just hated it, I would get really demotivated.
Right.
I don't know if I would want to play for a couple of days or whatever. So I think avoiding that scenario is nice, but then at the same time you want to reward people who know what they're doing and making educated purchases. So
yeah. I mean, there's a definite philosophical shift happening with the way business models are being constructed, not only with SOE, although I'm glad that we are a part of this movement, but I think in free-to-play games in general, where for a long time people were thinking that the way to make a successful free-to-play game was to be extremely stingy with what you gave people. And now I think people are coming around to the idea that what you want to do is be really open with what you give people and make people happy to spend money and happy to be participating in helping to fund the game that they like and a team that they trust. I think that's a much better way for you to run a successful game long term. And you can see companies like Riot and Valve doing really, really well with that sort of business model of a company that their community trusts in the company and likes the people who are building the game. And a lot of that is because they give a lot away.
What about so let's say I accidentally spend cert points or something. I mean, it's probably not going to be super common, but it's not unforeseeable. And I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people who just decided that I want to get rocket pods instead. Oops, I messed up. Excuse me, GM. But is there any possibility for a player who legitimately accidentally spent cert points to get those back? Should they make a petition? Should they just keep killing people? What's their scenario?
I mean, for now, you could probably send a petition, and our CS will be happy to help you out. Long term, we would want to put in something like 10 minutes oops button that you can push to be able to refund purchases if you don't like it. That's one of the main reasons we put the trial in, is to sort of help you from those sort of issues. At least then the buyer's remorse won't necessarily be as prominent. The accidental, I clicked this thing when I didn't really want it, might still be there, but at least you have a chance now to try out those weapons before you spend your hard-earned cert points on them.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'm fresh out of questions, and to be totally honest, I kind of want to play the game. Getting into my Thanksgiving
break. You gotta go
break.
try the trials out now, man.
I know. There's so many things I want to try. Thank you very much for this bonus get to know the devs. It was a pleasure meeting your team and all the tremendous people at SOE, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon. Matt Higby.
You bet.